Call this meeting to order. Franklin County Board of Commissioners, Wednesday, January 22nd, 2022. Janet, do the roll call.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Present.
Chair Dunn?
Present.
Vice Chair Dickinson?
Present.
Commissioner Waymire?
Present.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for the invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, Commissioners. The quote I have for you today is, "Life can only be understood by looking backward, but it must be lived by looking forward." Jesus gave us this scripture out of Luke 9:62, and it says, "But Jesus told him, anyone who puts his hand to the plow and then looks back is not fit for the kingdom." We learn by our mistakes in history, but we live today and we plan for tomorrow. Let's pray. Lord, may our focus be on our future, not looking back at our past. Let this be the year that breakthrough comes for this county. May this be the year that brings new industry and businesses to break the cycle of poverty in this area and in this county. Lord, guide our leaders and give us wisdom to do these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Correspondence and organizational business. Eric,
I don't have anything, Roy. Thanks.
Okay. Public comment, Janet?
None.
Okay. Consent agenda, we got 4 items. Claim vouchers and tax change orders of a positive $106.58. We got the emergency vehicle permits to approve. And consider the minutes for the January 19th meeting and the study session on January 24th. I have a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any more
Commissioner
discussion?
Stottlemyre?
Yeah.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Chair Dunn?
Yes. First item is to look at the general accounting procedure requirements for 2021. Janet, do you want to?
Commissioners, this is something we do for our auditor every fiscal year. So this is for the 2021 year to approve the cash basis policy that we always use, and that is what is approved by state statute. So this is just a formality that we need to do for our auditor.
Any questions of Janet? This is what we do every year, and I don't know why they don't change the statutes, that we can just do this without a resolution every year. Just,
I don't know.
I know.
Okay.
The city of Ottawa does it too every year.
Yep.
so I'd look for motion, and it should read, I make a motion to adopt the resolution waiving the general accepted accounting practice requirements for the 2021 physical or financial statements.
So moved?
Second.
Moved in second. Janet?
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Chair Dunn?
Yes. We need to do this resolution then, Janet, for this as a resolution.
Yeah, that's what you just approved. So I have a copy of it and I'll have you sign it.
Next item is considering to enter in a lease agreement with the Franklin County Historical Society for use of the Visitors Information Center.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. We've had this discussion periodically over the last year, and the idea that is driving the discussion extends even further back than that. You'll recall back on November 24th, We had a discussion with Diana Starsnick-Dean with the Historical Society about a lease that would allow the Historical Society to use the Visitors Information Center. At that time, we were kind of negotiating a lease, and basically on that day, we came to an agreement. She took it to her board. They approved it on January 11th. At this point, the next step in this process would be this board approving the lease. You've seen this before. This is by and large our boilerplate lease, very similar lease to what we have with Advent Health here, OFP. We've tailored it a little bit to the Historical Society, but this is our lease. If you have any questions about that, I would be glad to answer. I think one of the remaining questions, and I'm glad that we have the executive director of the Historical Society here, but it's when do we want to start this? So, and I don't know that we need to make that decision today, but that is really the last thing we need to decide. Like, how long does she feel like we're going to need to get moved in there? And then when is the actual effective date of this? I am comfortable with you all approving it and then us just deciding, this is the day it's going to commence, but I feel like that's something we should at least think about. And Diana, do you have an idea on what you would like to see there? And please come up.
Good morning. At this point, what we're thinking about is the time it will take for the county to make the few modifications, the time it'll take to move all of the visitors center things out and into the visitor center space. For us, we'd prefer not to move delicate archives when it's cold, for sure. So maybe sometime at late spring, early summer would be a target move date. I know a lot of it will depend on when the HVAC can be installed, because I know materials are just very difficult to acquire right now. So that's kind of what we're looking at, but we know that it's going to depend too on what the county would like to do. And then for us, of course, still planning on what happens with that storage facility behind it. But as far as the archives itself, we're kind of hoping in the 6-month range.
Okay.
Are you needing the flooring in the upstairs
We
to be
would have-
done before you move?
Yes,
Probably.
because if we move the shelving in on top of
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you won't be able to do much with it. So it kind of depends on how long the county will need to make those. There's not a lot of modification. I think the big things were the HVAC, something with the flooring upstairs, and then also things like locks and just taking out what's there. We'll have some modifications, cosmetic things we'll want to do before we move things in too, but which is why we ask for that lead time. But I know that materials is the biggest challenge for some of those things.
Yeah.
What about the signage? Is that already in progress also? Put the sign up, is that going to have the Historical Society on the sign?
Yeah, I'll say that hasn't even really been discussed,
okay.
but I don't think there would be a bunch of lead time, I guess, on signage. I know we've already got quotes for HVAC, and Brandon's given me no reason to believe that it would be an extraordinary lead time on that. And I know he's actively working on flooring solutions. So I think from the county's perspective, I don't know, but I believe that we could have our end done well before 6 months. I mean, if the board, just as a target date, June 1, how do you feel about that? If we tried to have them out there somewhere right around, that's close to the 6-month mark, a little closer to 5 months. How would the board feel about that, just as a tentative time frame?
Sounds realistic. I guess to be clear, a move-in date also means a move-out date of the other facility? Not the big building, but yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay. I mean,
Presumably.
It'd be easy to leave a few things there until you decide where you wanted them, but I mean, the whole objective was to get that building kind of vacated so we can
Right, and
tidy it up, but.
And truly, once we start the process, we would like to get the move done as quickly as possible. It's safer for our materials. We will have to pay insurance on 2 buildings for a short period of time while we're transitioning to ensure that our things are protected. And we'd like to be up and running as quickly as we can. We don't want to have to turn people away for months on end because we're not functioning yet.
Makes
That
sense.
sounds like a good target date, June
You can
1.
have that as the end date. It won't be after that, and if everything's ready before that, and they're ready before that, you could
Yeah.
move it up, but just say that that would be the last.
Oh, and I would encourage the board to be flexible. I mean, I think what we need to see at this point is ongoing progress, and that'll start with the county doing, what we need to do to the building, and then as the weather warms up. But if you are working in good faith to move, and for whatever reason, we need to kick it a little bit, I don't know that that's an issue, but I think, we would love to get you in there really as soon as possible and then out of Crestview so that we can start doing the things over there. And then the building behind it, I think, is a separate discussion that we'll need to have at some point. And if we're going to do something there, then of course contemplating, okay, where does all of that stuff go? But I think we would be better served to focus on this initial transition first, doing what we want to do with Crestview first, and then discussing the accessory building later. So any questions for Diana while she's here?
Thank you, Diane, for your board's approval of this move.
This has been quite a process. I appreciate the county's willingness to work with us to try to come up with a good solution.
Before you, and I know this has nothing to do with this lease or anything, but last week you had Kansas Day,
Yes,
and you gave some statistics and some information about pandemics in the past.
Yes.
That this is not new to all of us, even the mask mandates and the protesting of the mask mandates. It's not new.
yes.
It all comes around again.
Yeah,
It was very interesting. I enjoyed.
thank you. Yes, the people who came before us, especially those surviving the 1918 pandemic, definitely would empathize with our current plight.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion before we vote? Motion on this would be consider approval entering into a lease agreement with Beck County Historical Society for the use of the Visitors Information Center.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Janet?
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Waymire?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Chair Dunn.
Yes. Okay, that ends our business for today. Staff reports, you want to go ahead, Derek?
Yeah, thanks, Roy. So Brandon's been in touch with Campione, our contractor on the annex flooring project. They would like to do the flooring in the commission chambers, so right here on the 3rd and 4th and the 7th and 8th. So bringing this up, that's a Thursday and a Friday and a Monday and a Tuesday. But our next study session is scheduled for the 7th. Now, we're, almost 2 weeks out. I don't currently have something, but we would really like to get that locked in if possible. Is the board comfortable with just canceling that study session so we can get our contractor in here? Had a discussion with Dustin. He doesn't anticipate that it will create issues for that Wednesday meeting. And they need 4 days to do it. And this would avoid a cancellation of an actual Wednesday meeting. So I would recommend it. I just want to make sure that the 5 of you are okay with that.
Date again? Sorry.
It's the 3rd and the 4th, which is a Thursday and Friday, and the 7th and the 8th, which is then that next Monday and Tuesday.
The only other option would be move it a week later when we don't have a study session.
We'll be at a, any chance we're gonna do that retreat?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they could work on Saturday and Sunday if they wanted to then too, I guess.
Yeah, but my understanding is they're busy, and Brandon told me this morning, if we need to find other dates, we can, but I don't think it's as easy as us just saying, do it the Thursday and Friday and the Monday and Tuesday of the following week. I think we would have to work with them, and they'd have to squeeze it in somewhere, so,
Sounds like a good idea to do it that way.
okay.
They're done.
So we'll just plan on that next study session being canceled.
Need to get it done.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Anything else, Derek?
Well, yeah, I sent you an email discussing this among other things yesterday, but yeah, I think given the COVID situation and how we're having to juggle staffing at the moment, I've not had time to even begin preparing for a retreat. I think that's one of the most beneficial things that we do, but that's also predicated on having the time to prepare well for it. And so I don't, I will get you guys some new dates proposed when I have an idea on when that is, but COVID's just, I mean, it's worse than it has ever been at this point, and it's not close. So I can't sit here and do that, but last year we did it the first part of March, and I would say that's a fairly safe target for this year. I think we're hoping that COVID is peaking now, and will maybe start coming back down until the inevitable next wave takes us back up. But we think that hopefully this Omicron is maybe crested now and starting to come down, so. And the last thing that I have, Roy, is just appreciate the five of you giving your blessing on Monday for us to move forward on countywide software. I sincerely believe that this is something that it's gonna take time, but give us 5 years, and I think we'll look back and honestly wonder like how we operated before we had these upgrades. I think it's gonna has the potential to be that transformative. And I think we've got the team of department heads and electeds with the right attitudes. I think they're going to ensure that we make the most of this investment and get the most back out of it, so. And then certainly think the entire software committee did a great job, but I do want to give special kudos to Dustin. And I know Dustin doesn't do what he does for recognition, and I love that about him, but he has really done an excellent job of quarterbacking this process. And so appreciate all the time that he has into it. And yeah, he's already been in touch with the vendor, and I expect us to start negotiating a deal even yet this week. So just appreciate the board and your blessing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Derek. Casey, gonna give us an update on everything?
Good morning, Commissioners. So as of Friday, we had 844 active cases of COVID, which is again another 200 higher than our active case count has ever been. We are seeing that at least 80% or more of those tests are PCR tests. We're starting to give out a lot of home tests, so is OFP, but people aren't reporting those. There's a lot more that just aren't getting reported is basically what I'm trying to say. We are continuing to see, we're giving people the option of a PCR or a home test and just explaining that the PCR still remains the most what word am I looking at? Yes, thank you. Accurate test. The home tests are still, there's question on the accuracy. They're definitely more accurate than they've ever been, but we still think that there are some positive cases that get missed with home tests. So Any questions for me? That's really all I have.
What's your lead time on the PCR ones?
It's still been about 3 to 5 days. It's getting better, but it is still taking quite a while.
Does OFP have any in-house testing options?
Their in-house testing option, they actually don't have any more PCR tests themselves, so they are only using home tests at this point. Or the antigen tests.
I know I talked to a family that the dad got sick, he tested positive, the mom and the kids also were sick, but they were like, we're not gonna test, we know.
Right.
We know we have it.
Right.
We're gonna quarantine.
Right.
So.
We see that
you
a
know,
lot.
So you have a whole family but you only have one. as far
One
as the
person
number.
in the family will
Right.
test and everybody else presumes they're positive, so.
So we probably are our numbers are way higher.
Yep.
Has anybody asked you about giving away home tests, giving them out? I mean, the health department, like getting them in and
And
Giving
just
them out to
handing them
people.
out. I mean, when someone calls in to get a test, because we do all of our testing by appointment, even at the trailer, it's by appointment only, we give them the option of getting a PCR test or using the rapid test. And then they get instructions on how to use it, and it clearly tells them that we ask that they report it. There's a place on our website they can report it, or they can call into the health department and report it.
Do you know of the availability of rapid tests? Like if I wanted to go to the pharmacy and buy some,
I
are they
think it-
available in town?
I think it varies by the day. I think some days that they're widely available, and then some people stock up and they're gone.
Well, I know our
So-
insurance says they'll pay for eight a month.
Yeah,
So-
so I think it just varies. There's also a website that you can go on, covidtests.org, I believe is what it is, that you can order 3 or 4 per family. That's also shared on our website and social media for people that want to get on and use it.
look to me like there's several scams showing up about, on the internet to get your
COVID test.
rapid tests.
Yeah, we have the official link on ours, so if you're looking for that and question it, go to our website and you can find it.
More questions of Casey? Thanks, Casey, for the
Thank you.
update. Tom, I see you're here. Got some good news for us, I hope.
Well, that's, I was thinking about that. Every time I've come to you guys, it's always been something I've got to have something big signed or something like that, or disasters happen and I need you guys to sign something. So there is no disasters currently going on other than responding to COVID and stuff like that. So I was just going to come and give you kind of an year-end report of what we did last year and kind of what we're moving forward with. Our burn permits were down by 400, but I think that's because people were just still getting used to what they were, and people were putting them in just to see how they worked. They're like, well, I wanted to see how it worked, so I just put one in. I was like, okay, so are you burning? No, we're not going to burn. We just wanted to see how it worked. Okay, so it worked. Yes. Okay, right. So and I think that's a real big reason why we're down about 400 numbers than last year. But we average about 3,000 burns per year. The great thing about that system is being able to do our shut off our burning or do burn bans. When we've had to do that, go out and drive the county, and it's pretty much shut down for our thing. So I think the word's gotten out and stuff like that. It's helped everybody do what we need to do. And I think that's the whole idea of the system, was being able to, kind of adequately track and be able to close down burn permits when it needed to be. Last year we did about 40 hours of instruction to responders in the county. We trained about 60 responders, and that's way down from what we normally do due to COVID. Our COVID numbers and stuff like that really curbed that and whatnot. But that's something that we're hoping that once cases go down and stuff like that, we can get back into that and work on that some more. As far as responding to COVID, I just took supplies out to JDC because they're dealing with some stuff out there, trying to make them as safe as possible. One thing that we want to talk about was the radio system. You guys authorized putting an extra repeater out in Appanoose and the Williamsburg tower sites, and we get probably what we call about 30,000 PTTs. So it's a push to talk. So every time somebody pushes the talk on the radio and it hits the tower, they record that number, and we were getting about 4,000 to 6,000 busies. So when you hit that button, and it wouldn't let you through. And there's a host of reasons why I would have a busy and stuff like that, but one of the reasons was there's just not a repeater available. So when we put those extra repeaters out there, we went from 4,000 to 6,000 busies down to about 10 to 15. So it really helped out our radio system and stuff like that on the western end of the county to be able to put those extra repeaters in. So, and it shows. The great thing is Osage County just signed on. They're going to be putting in the same system that we have. They're going to be a state add-on site as well. And they're going to be coming to us because they want to put 2 more repeaters and make those both outside full 6-packs for the state. So kind of what we kind of planned on is that we were going to fend for ourselves, but if somebody else wanted to pay, get back on our infrastructure, be able to build that, we're going to let them pay for it and give them the opportunity. So we're going to be looking for that interlocal agreement and working with Derek and get an interlocal agreement with that to build that south system out even better than what it currently is at no dollars to us. So that's one of those things that we get to leverage our infrastructure and make things better for our county from just the planning standpoint. We're looking at still doing a big radio update. I got to program all the radios and stuff like that because so many people have been going on the system that our radio templates have changed. So be able to talk to those people in Osage County and Miami County just went on, so be able to talk to Miami County. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. And on the final thing, and I'll segue for David, I got an email that said I needed to sign my PA paperwork, and I jumped online and saw that we had a $2 million project sitting there, and I was like, whew. Read through it, fine print and stuff like that, signed it, and then called David and said, hey, we're good, right? I figured I was just a reviewer, and he goes, no, you're the final guy. And I was like, oh, that's great. So, but we're good there. So, any questions for me?
Well, I know Osage County's upgrading their whole radio system, and they were going to put in an 800 system,
That's what we have.
and it's what we have too, so it'd be all compatible.
Yep.
That's great.
We only have one person left on that one county that's on the island for the most part, and that's Anderson County. And they're having that discussion now. And Anderson County goes, and they've already kind of talked to me and felt me out, and they said, so what would it take to put 2 more repeaters in Tennessee Terrace, because that's our last one, 2 more repeaters in Tennessee Terrace. I was like, well, we'll have that discussion, interlocal agreement. So I think once we get Osage County done and stuff like that, I think Anderson County will be the next domino to fall on that.
It would take Anderson County kicking in about $300,000, right?
Yeah.
What it would take.
Yeah. But it's cheaper for them to put in that than it is to build a tower site and maintain a full 6-pack.
Yeah.
So they get cost savings about doing that. But my thing is if it covers their north half, they're going to get the benefit of the Williamsburg Tower because Osage County's already going to pay for that. So that's how it's going to work.
Okay. Any other questions, Tom? Thank you, Tom, for
You're
coming
welcome.
Thanks, Tom.
in. Dustin, you have anything else? Yes, sir. Okay. David?
Okay, so as a famous Franklin County is often heard saying, it's a great day to live in Franklin County. Did I get that right? Did I quote it? Famous, infamous, one or the other. So Tom alluded to this. Yesterday, I received a phone call that I've been waiting for over 4 months now. Our representative with the Kansas Department of Emergency Management reached out to me to let me know that FEMA finally approved our Cat C reimbursement submittal. He told me that, and the Cat C is related to roads and bridges damaged during disasters. He told me that the Franklin County project is the largest road project that KDEM has ever worked in their history. So what that means is no other county in Kansas has ever experienced as much documented flood damage as to their roads as we did during the 2019 floods. So a couple of quick facts related to that and related to our response. We had over 300 flood repair sites around the county. Each site is comprised of possibly multiple specific locations in that site, so that site could cover anywhere from a few hundred feet to 6 miles or more, so a big area. We used over 71,000 tons of rock to repair these sites. We replaced over 60 crossroad tubes and a bunch of entrances as well. We spent over 15,000 field staff hours to make these repairs. And we had over 3,100 hours, as I mentioned on Monday, of staff hours to assemble all of the required documentation. So all of this effort resulted in a reimbursement submittal of $2,004,003. And FEMA reimburses up to 75% of that amount, and the state of Kansas kicks in another 10%. So Franklin County could receive up to $1,703,400. And we were awarded the full amount. So in all, FEMA has approved the full amount on every reimbursement request we have made in that 2019, related to that 2019 flood. So Cat A, which is all the debris removal, trees washing up next to bridges, corn stalks washing out of fields, all of that stuff that we took care of. We submitted a request of $111,436. We received full 85%, which was just under 95,000. Cat B, which is all the emergency protective measures, all the barricades that we set out every time we touched and checked a flood flip sign, all of that type of stuff. We submitted a request of $70,400, just under $750,000. Sorry, $70,500, get my numbers right. And we received just under $60,000 for that. And then, of course, the big one that we just received yesterday, or news of yesterday, which is just over $2 million, of which we'll receive just over $1.7 million. So in all, we submitted project totals of just under $2.2 million, and we're going to receive, part of it we've already gotten checks for, but in total, we will have received just over $1.8 million in reimbursement submittals that we have submitted to them related to that disaster. A couple of other items to note. It's unusual to be awarded the full amount, and FEMA approved every single thing that we submitted. They approved 100%. There were a few questions, clarification questions, but nothing that was in depth or difficult to work through. The length of time to get this approved had to do with the size of the project. It was a lot of data to go through for them. It was a tremendous effort for us to put all of that together. KDM told me, the representative that helped us through that project said that they were going to use our spreadsheets and our process as a template for other counties in future storms. So it's a big deal. And I think that this award and the fact that we've received all of this is kind of a testament to the dedicated and hardworking individuals working for the Franklin County Public Works Department. We spent over 2 years repairing these roads and other infrastructure to ensure that we've got decent roads to travel on. And they did a tremendous job getting things put back together. I'd also like to call special attention to Kelly Thompson, Angela Asbury, and Shanda Smith. They had the bulk of the 3,100 hours assembling all of these various documents so that we could get it submitted. Without their efforts, none of this would have been possible. And then also Terry Klain with KDM. He was very instrumental in guiding us through this process and providing, solid guidance and instruction and a little bit of quality control. It was quite a deal. So, yeah, we're in pretty good shape now. That $1.8 million will be put back into our infrastructure. You all will have a big say in how those dollars get spent. One last thing, There is one more category that we're able to submit on, and that's Cat Z, which is all the administrative costs. So that 3,100 hours, we are going to, or we have already submitted the paperwork for that. So there's a possibility that we could receive another 100+ thousand in reimbursements based on those hours. So that would be work out to just under $2 million of reimbursements associated with the 2019 storm. So pretty exciting day.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this was your first year. I mean, you came on in January, and this all started, this is really a testament to you and your team that, and just think what we could have done if we had the new software.
Yeah, it would have been
But the fact that you stayed on this and put this together, those numbers are amazing.
total team effort.
Wow.
We've done this. I'm sure we've done it countless times over the last 20, 30 years, but countless times in my tenure here. And we've never experienced anything close to what David and his staff were able to accomplish. I mean, we've had some things that we felt were huge victories, and they were like a couple $100,000, which is nothing to sneeze at. But we've just gotten so used to absorbing these losses into our budget. I mean, you lose the gravel, you buy more gravel, and that's just part of. And so the fact that we now are going to have, $1.8-ish million to go back into the budget, that's, I mean, I don't want to repeat what David said, or Ian for that matter, but that is fantastic. I mean, that's a windfall. And to be very clear, you guys will have the exclusive say on how that money gets spent. We'll make recommendations, but I think that gives us $1.8 million to put back into our infrastructure, so.
I'm not sure I truly believe that we had more flooding than any other county ever had, but we had better documentation submitted than any county ever had, and that's why the judgment is so big.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing, and great work, David, and why don't you pass that on to your people who worked on this, because, going back to 2019 and having the flood event then, and now we're getting reimbursements for that. It's a real testament to how well record keeping and verification and all that pulls together. It's pretty amazing. I wasn't expecting that today, but that's great news for the county.
I've in talking about the software upgrade that we're looking at, I've referenced the level of effort that it took to assemble this information a number of times with you and with Derek and others, and it. I would not say our documentation is great, but the effort that the staff put in to assemble all the various pieces, and there were a lot of different pieces, and comparing that to make sure that what we submitted was an honest accounting of what occurred, there was still more out there that I couldn't quite. I didn't feel like I had enough documentation to say that we should be reimbursed for that. So there is probably another couple $100,000 that we left out there that I just couldn't, in good conscience, put that in the document. And so this software will allow us to not have those issues next time around. But this is a wonderful result of a terrible situation. So, we'll work to put it to good use.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that report. Janet, do you have anything?
Paul, do you have an update?
Paul?
Morning, Commissioners. I just want to say, it's a great day to live in Franklin County, David. My gosh. I really appreciate and want to echo my compliments and appreciation of David and all the folks in Public Works. Those roads are important to our economy, and I know they work tirelessly throughout the year, and this is a great way to recognize that effort and deep appreciation for your work. It's also just another great story I can share with industries that are looking at us about how the county supports economic development in a number of ways, and one is we take care of our roads. And those are very, very important. So thank you, David. Man, it is a great day. We may make it a great week, just live off that. I want to give you a quick update on Proximity Park. Probably only take me about 13 seconds. It's the Buffalo Bills fan over there. I'll hear back on that later. But I want you to know it's been an active month. We've had 3 proposals for information come across my desk this month. 2 of them I have responded with a packet. One of them they said they wanted to be within 30 minutes of the Kansas City airport, so I checked to see if that's a hard request or not, and it was, so we didn't respond to that one. Got another one that's coming. I signed a non-disclosure agreement on Monday for somebody that wants to talk to us, and so I'm waiting to hear from that proposal or that project. So to have 3 of them that we're going to get to respond to in the month of January out of 4, unless something else pops up here in the next couple of days, that's a good month. And that's because we have Proximity Park. We wouldn't be having these conversations if we didn't have the park. So I know there's folks that are frustrated with not getting something out there, but we are in the ball game, we are in the discussion, and it's only because of the investment made in Proximity Park. And I have no doubt at some point something good will come of that. Also working actively, very actively with some developers now. I've reached out. I've got a couple of them I've had multiple conversations with and introductions throughout the county and the community for multifamily housing. So I think there's a good opportunity. That, as you may recall, is one of our challenges in landing industry is workforce and rooftops. So I think we've got some great opportunities to start to address some of that through some development that's pretty significant. So I hope to have some great news to share on that in the coming weeks or months. But the fact that they're coming to town and having multiple conversations is very encouraging. And then lastly, as we worked again to incorporate different counties, we have a group of counties, Lynn, Osage, Anderson, Miami, and Franklin are going to host a gathering in Paola in March, and it's about child care. And we anticipate having about 45 folks attend that conference and trying to work on child care from a regional perspective. There's some grant money out there that might be able to help us achieve some planning on that. So continue to work with our partners in the region and look forward to that. The leadership on that's been Janet McRae over in Miami County, so appreciate her leadership. And then I'm continuing to try and work with different organizations. We started monthly meetings where I'm joining the leadership of the Wellsville Chamber and meeting with them and trying to help as they kind of are getting some energy there in that group and trying to help them figure out how to go through some things and partnering with them. So we'll continue to have those meetings on a monthly basis with the Wellsville Chamber leadership. And of course, I continue to be on the board with the Ottawa Chamber and very engaged in that. So just hadn't spoken with you for a while and just wanted to give you a quick update. Happy to answer any questions.
That was a little longer than 13.
I was expecting that from him, Rod, but thank you.
I have a coworker that could probably make the airport in pretty close to 30 minutes.
Thanks, Paul. Commissioners, Don, you have anything?
I hadn't had too many meetings, but we are having a solid waste authority meeting by Zoom tomorrow. We're supposed to have it last week. We actually did that because we were afraid of not having a quorum because of COVID. We didn't have a quorum because of Zoom, and that's getting really, but anyhow, we're having a meeting tomorrow. Zoom meeting. Anybody's interested, I can give them the information if they want to join in. I did get contacted, we do help sponsor the RC&D, and I did get contacted by the national office last week. We used to be in the southwest region, which is Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas and Missouri. And they have changed the national revamping. And they're getting the national conservation districts are big are moving in to be a part of the RC&D, which they hadn't been in the past. So we're actually now, Kansas will be in with Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Montana. And that has to do with, that's how the regions are set up for conservation districts. So they've moved us, so next week or two, I got contacted as a state president. I'll be on a Zoom meeting with those other states and kind of meet and greet, more or less. We've never had conversation before because we've always been in the Southwest. So I'll bring that back if that, it remains to be seen what that'll do one way or another, but I'll let you know when I find out on that. We're going to the Wellsville meeting tonight. I want to thank David and administration and everything. And this is just I know the computer stuff scares us to death on the dollar amount, but I wonder how much more we would have got, with even more documentation. And then most of this, like David said, was done on a piece of paper or back of a tablet or something, and trying to gather it all in and find it. So this might be it's a scary point that when it's been, I know our stuff is 25 years old, and to be able to work through a process like they had to was something. I know this is something Alan always brought up, is what the damage is. He always pushed that, the documentation. And so that sounds like a great deal. That's all I got.
Right.
I have nothing, right?
Okay. Diane?
The City of Ottawa, at their study session on Monday, one of the things that they actually had Brenda Fitzenmeyer, the head of the health department, and Dr. Bud Ransom come and kind of give an update on the COVID situation. And, we haven't talked about it for a while, but we still need to wear our mask when we're out in public. I mean, we don't have a mask mandate. There are states that still do. We need to get vaccinated. We need to get this over with so that we can move on. It'll be a great day in Franklin County when we don't have to be talking about COVID anymore. And then I am heading to the local government day today in Topeka. Kind of gives us a chance to discuss maybe the issues that the legislator might be looking at in this session. And then this evening, there'll be a reception, meet and greet with our local legislators. So I will report on that next week.
Thanks, Diane. Colt?
A few meetings, but nothing I need to share.
Okay. Well, I attended the FCDC meeting by Zoom Tuesday, and Paul shared my critique of his presentation. Paul kind of gave a summary of what happened, where he's at now from 2021, kind of an update for the whole year, and introduced all the new members that are coming on the board, and I'm not going to mention them here because there's quite a few of those. And Paul did mention that 2020 had 20 inquiries about proximity parking. 2021 had up to 40 inquiries about proximity park. So the interest is out there, and it keeps kind of building up every year. There's people are looking for places to expand or develop. Some other just highlights from Paul's presentation is, again, he talked about the rural opportunity zones where people can come here and stay here and work here and get reimbursed for college tuition. So that's another good program they got. And the county contributed $7,500 to that program. A couple other things I thought was really pretty neat that I didn't hear about before was we're up to 77 members, and one thing Paul emphasized is not just having, a big number of members, but supporting the members that he does have in that organization, and make sure they're viable and get value out of their membership. And I know Paul would like to get over 100 members, and you could be an individual member. He's got a sale on right now. You could be an individual member for $100. So if you want to be involved in economic development and that sort of thing, you can join for $100. A couple other highlights that I never heard of was the Boomerang program that Ryan Hennington's going to be of kind of a lead on that, the committee. And what it is people that retire or are out there that would like to get back in the workforce, have been out of the workforce, and so many people need employees now, and every place you go, they have new hire or for hire signs out on the windows. And maybe people that have retired might be looking to get back at a part-time basis back in the workforce. So this is the Boomerang program. And I think what really excited me was Roger Maxwell gave a little presentation about facilitating a banking in the high school, actually starting their own bank in the Ottawa High School, and be teaching people not only to bank, but financial education and that sort of thing. I think that's a great program. And those are the main highlights. I don't know, Derek, you might want to chime in on some of this stuff, or?
No, I think you did a great job of covering all of it, Roy. I think that was very thorough. I will tell you, you talk about boomerangs. We are already seeing that within the organization, and it's maybe changed in the last week, but as of a week ago, we were fully staffed on custodians, which is incredibly rare for us. But that is because of, I think our last hire is a boomerang technically. And so we switched our model from full-time employees. We're now offering part-time spots, and that has helped us fill up, it's a little bit more on the management end for Brandon to keep track of, but I just think that's something we're going to have to look at across the organization is more part-time, more flexibility, giving the employee more say in when they want to work. I mean, that's just, it's incredible, but that's really where we're at. It's totally flipped from, it used to be that employees sold themselves to employers. Now employers are selling themselves to employees. Like that's just the way it is right now. And so, but no, Roy, I think that was a great update.
The only thing I might mention is the day on the job coming up, and I think March 22nd, Paul, is that right? And it involves all the schools in the county and really exposes the students to what we have here, what's out there, and not only to be part of the workforce, but also looking at starting our own businesses, entrepreneurship, and that sort of thing. So that'd be coming up, and workforce development not only is really important in the high schools now, looking at not necessarily not going to college, but having opportunities additionally to going to college for people that choose not to go to college. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I don't have anything else, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.